part of the experience, even though how that ended was horrible. And this is where I come back to sitting in your loving yourself the way you are now, right now, not the past, not the future, right now. And yes, I had to resign from radio after my spine was broken in a car accident. And I loved the radio part of things, but I also loved other parts of my life as well. So it all fell away and I had to restart. So restarting here was of great difficulty. And I'm sure there's people who experience difficulty and probably much more than me. So I'm grateful that I came out of the accident with still my ability to talk. The side of my face went through the driver's side window. And anything could have happened with that injury to my head, but it didn't. It allowed me to still speak. It doesn't mean I don't have limitations, I still do. But I've learnt to accept them because it's better than the alternative. Now, saying that, it might seem basic, but I'm trying to be basic because otherwise I will get emotional. It was a huge life change for me, and that was 20-something years ago it happened. So, yeah, I still tried to stay on the radio. As I said, I ended up resigning about a decade ago because my body couldn't keep up. And it was finding ways where my body could keep up. And in finding ways where my body could keep up, all of the things I wanted to manifest is still coming about. And so the bad things that have happened have only broadened my experience. They haven't dampened what I've wished for. And manifesting can be one of the hardest processes to deal with because it is confronting. And sometimes you have to, what you wish for is examining the negative. And most people that say use the law of attraction never mention the negative. I'm like, you have to. You can't avoid mentioning the negative. You have to mention the negative insofar as being able to accept it. And sometimes it means repeating it over and over and over and over and over again until it's out of your system. So some people manifest quicker than others, but comparing yourself to other people would be a disservice to you because you're not other people. What you want to manifest is not what other people want to manifest. And we can be blessed in a way. Our experiences, even though they may be negative, have opened our eyes to the reality of life. So it makes what we're trying to manifest much more important, much more clear. And yes, in a way, when it does come, you're much more grateful for it. So it keeps flowing, it keeps coming in. And I'd like to hear your experiences on trying to manifest something. Because I did start this as a discussion rather than a lecture. That was my hope. And thank you, Peachy. Yes, it is. it is really, it's confronting when you have to look at the negative side of your past. But that's your past. That's not where you're sitting right now. I wouldn't say inspiring, Mama Nikos. You're going through your own journey right now. And your own journey is just as painful as my journey. Because I would have no idea what you're experiencing. And until you go through it, have you ever heard the saying, until you go through it, you won't know? And that's how it is. Everybody's journey is different. Even if I came across somebody that had the same experience as me, their journey before and after would be different. I'm actually grateful that I worked in hospitals prior to the car accident, because it gave me the knowledge of who to seek out to heal me. And I am a solution-focused person. When I look at a problem, I work out the solution rather than the problem. And I believe that has helped me as well. It's like, okay, yes, you've got this challenge, but you've got to work out how to solve it. And the solution-focused challenge is, I would say, one of the things that can help manifesting, because if you're solution focused, you're looking at the positive outcome. Even though you're looking at a negative topic, you're looking at a positive outcome. And that positive outcome is something that you're aspiring to. So that's part of manifesting. Manifestation does not have to be grand, does not have to be awe-inspiring, curing, I want to say curing cancer, but that's on my wish list too. And the person that does manage to make that cure will have had their own journey to get there. Although there is conspiracy theories about the pharmaceutical companies not wanting a cure for cancer because they're making too much money out of chemo and etc., etc. You all know the story. But at the same time, be you, like you. You are where you are now because of a series of events. Whether you wished for them or asked for them or did something, that's not important. It's past. We haven't invented the time machine yet. I've just got someone that's come in, so it's gone to sleep. Yeah. Okay. I will be back in 2 seconds. Lala Rees, welcome in. I'm talking about manifestation today, not doing tarot reads. I know it's disappointing for some people, but I'll be 2 seconds. Okay. Sorry about that. Um, yes, as I said, I believe I manifested the tech problems I'm having today. When I mentioned on yesterday's stream, I kept mentioning that I wasn't tech savvy. It has pretty much dominated my day. And the negative seems to manifest quicker than the positive. So this is where each time I've had to attend to it, I've gone and pulled out a weed. Because if you don't weed your garden, the only thing that's going to grow is weeds. So it's the same with life. the seeds you plant are what will grow. And to attract, you do need to act, but you need to act from the right space. Like, I wasn't totally honest, and I put myself as someone who is quite honest. And unfortunately, that honesty, I let myself down yesterday because my tech knowledge is not as bad as what I was making out. It's actually a lot better than what most people would credit me for. I choose not to have everything synced, for example. That's my choice. And I'm happy with my choice. But that doesn't mean I don't know how to sync everything. So yes, my technology is better than what I made out yesterday. And it was appropriate that I told everybody I was doing a manifestation stream, because that's how quickly the negative can manifest. So getting hold of that negative and finding a way to accept it, finding a way to immerse it into your life now, that is, I would say, if you find the elixir to be able to do that, you would make a fortune. If you could wash away everybody's negativity, you would make a fortune. So there you go. That might be somebody's goal, is to wash away negativity. Because haven't we all gone through periods in our life where everybody we come across is negative? And we're fighting it not to let it bring us down, but also acknowledging our humanity, that sometimes we need to acknowledge the negative. We need to come to terms with that part that might not be great. Once we come to terms with it, we end up loving ourselves more. And I did say in yesterday's stream that you're a product of the divine, whether you call that divine God, whether you call that divine by another name. I use the divine. You're a byproduct of that. And you have to be beautiful. And it's why I usually say, if I pick up something negative, I say hand it over to the karma bus. Put it this way, the karma bus I've got in my mind is jam-packed, because I hand all that over to the karma bus, and it does work. I've been blessed to actually see it in action. And I hope that you guys will actually see it in action. Because some people think karma's a myth. I've seen it in action. And it's not a myth. It's actually something that people sow their own seeds. And once you do see it, you start believing in that whole manifestation process. So sometimes coming to terms with the negativity and handing over what you can't control to the karma bus is a way of you being able to see the effects of like attracts like. And yeah, I lose my temper. You guys have seen it. But I generally try, sometimes, that's right, Lala Reese, sometimes we've just got to get out of our own way. There you go. That I haven't heard that one before, J-Step. Karma is like trying to keep an inflatable ball underwater. You can only do it for so long before it pops up. And it's true. So the people that have harmed us for example, or the circumstances that have harmed us, give it to the karma bus. Let the karma bus try and keep it underwater. It won't succeed. It'll either run over it with a big bang, or that inflatable ball will eventually perish. But with the good that we're trying to bring in, like manifestation it's got a common theme of wanting to bring in good. And if we're wanting to bring in good, our thoughts have to be good and directed towards us. So loving yourself, this is the first point I started on with manifestation. And yes, it will be a series of streams, so feel free to pop up with what you want to manifest, and we can work on that as a group. And my new tech guy, who's also been my helper today, is the sleep still clicked on the...
Oh, no. It's still on.
It's still on? Every 5 minutes it needs a click, so yeah. So yes, we have a guest in the meditation room. And I'm not as calm as what I usually am, but as I said, I bought that on myself. I have to accept that. I have to be honest with myself. I pride myself on honesty. So when I was dishonest yesterday, it led to a whole hurdle today. And that didn't need to happen had I been honest. So being honest with yourself, it's like we've all got faults. I have them. I have faults galore, trust me. I don't want to put you off me as a streamer, so I'm not going to tell you my faults, but we all have faults. And sometimes it can be hard to accept those faults, but they are part of us. They make up us as a whole. And we're beautiful. In the eyes of our Creator, in the eyes of the divine, we are beautiful. No matter what circumstances we've been through, no matter what hurdles we've faced, we are beautiful with those flaws. And so accepting those flaws and loving who you are. Because you guys know me, I love who you guys are. And heaps. You've got no idea how much. But you need to love yourself the same way. You need to accept you as a whole human. Regardless, we can be snappy. We're human beings. We can be snappy. We can be forgetful. We can be inconsiderate at times. And we can also be hurt. Now, that leads me to hurt being free will. So, loving yourself, the hurt that you experience is part of free will. And this is where I say, in the US, I would put my favourite First Lady as being Eleanor Roosevelt. I think she was once considered the best First Lady, but now we tend to think about it from an Instagram perspective or a selfie perspective. So Michelle Obama, and off the top of my head I can't think, but they seem to be considered the best First Ladies because of their looks. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "No one can make you feel any way unless you allow them to." So people can talk negative to you. People can talk down about you. You only have to take that on board if you choose to. And this is all about free will. If you choose to take it on board, your free will is being accepting of their comments. So, yes, we can feel hurt by it, but hurt reminds us that we have free will. So if you can think of hurt in that way, and I know this will fly in the face of some people because we're going back to childhood traumas. Childhood traumas, no, children need protecting. If that wasn't you, your wish in the world is to protect children. So get out of the mindset of I was hurt as a kid and get into the mindset of no child will be hurt from this point on. Because we can't change the past until someone invents a time machine. And even then, we've got the grandfather principle, we've got the butterfly effect, we've got all these sorts of effects that's around time travel. So we can't change the past. What we can do is brighten the future. Brighten our future and everybody else's future. If we can impart some of that, that is a blessing. That is a true blessing, a true calling. And as I've said before, some people are much better at manifesting than others. But negative thinking is quicker to manifest because we believe it more. And sometimes when we believe something more, and quite often it is the negative. Like I do believe that I'm not fantastic at computer stuff, but I'm not as bad as what I made out yesterday. So because I partially believed it, it came about really quick, within 24 hours. So believing in yourself is the most important thing. Believing that free will is where hurt originates from. Because what we invite into our lives can sometimes hurt us. And I've invited things into my life that, have sometimes hurt. Like Peachy, I'm sure you've been in a stream, and Lala Reese, where there's some people that want real, they want to promote themselves, but at the expense of somebody else. And I always say hand it over to the karma bus because, self-love is the goal and it is our power. If we do love ourselves, weaknesses and all, faults and all, we bring about, unique name goes here, welcome in. But we bring about those things that we want to manifest much quicker because we believe we're worthy of it. And I'm glad you put it that way, Lala Reese. I hope everybody can read the chat because that's putting it in better words than what I could have done. So thank you for that. And knowing that, as I've just said to Lala Reese, it's like sometimes I get tongue-tied. And some people come along that put it in better words than what I do. Give them the credit for it. Because just because you didn't have those words doesn't mean you're any less. It doesn't mean you're any more. It means you're you. And you're lovable just as you are. So self-love is the first step in manifesting. And it comes hand in hand with gratitude. As I was saying before, I was grateful that I had a radio background because I knew not to leave dead air. So Twitch and I tended to merge very well. And not leaving dead air was natural to me. That's why I was accepted on radio to start with. Just because personalities changed didn't mean the skills didn't. And the skills that I had came in very handy when Twitch started getting going because I knew dead air was my enemy. And thank you for, if you're listening rather than watching, Thank you for hanging round. It's one of those things, though, that needs, as I said with the Newtonian cradle, where you lift a ball. I'll see if I can get to it, because it's easier if I've got something to demonstrate. Here we go. I've got a helper. Yay! I'm happy. I've got a helper. This is the Newtonian cradle. I'll adjust the camera so you can see it. You lift one ball and drop it, and it hits the middle balls, and the other end ball flies out. And it needs constant attention. Just like you do. You need constant attention from yourself to keep that momentum going. Once you let go of that constant attention on yourself, as with the Newtonian cradle, it will actually stop. The balls will end up becoming static and staying in the one space. And this is where it gets messy, guys, because I love my boxes. I never throw my boxes away. I've had this Newtonian cradle for decades, and it's still in its original wrapping. Laugh at me now. Come on, everybody laugh. Okay, here we go. It gets messy because it's got polystyrene. Is it polystyrene? It's a polystyrene, those little things. Yeah, thank you, Lala Rees. At least somebody's laughing at me. I'm shocking. With boxes, yeah, I keep everything I have in its original box. And as you can see with my Newtonian cradle, even the individual little movable balls are still in their little holders, and the static actually makes it messy when I do take it out. It's just my desk doesn't have enough room to keep it constantly there. Not if you guys want the cards. The cards take up a lot of room. So, yeah, static. Ah! Okay, Karen, stop complaining. Oh, you keep your boxes too. Oh, and you're glad you did for your sewing machines. There you go, unique name goes here. I'm glad I'm not the only one that keeps my boxes. But I keep everything. Every box I've ever had. I don't let my mother in my house anymore because she takes everything out of the boxes. My iron is still kept in its original box. But we'll see. That's a better... Okay. So a positive thought creates another positive thought. And if we keep going with those positive thoughts, this will keep going forever. And the laws of physics, and some of you do know that I have a physics background. Do you see how it's becoming... It'll keep moving for a little while without attention, but it'll eventually come to a total stop. And that's what manifesting is, the law of attraction. We have to get our Newtonian cradle first, so we have to have that self-love first and accept that we are part of a divine universe. And once we get that acceptance, we've got the cradle. But then the cradle needs constant attention. So it needs constant reassurance that we're still wanting what we've asked the universe. And we still believe we're going to get it. Because if we don't believe we're going to achieve it, then it becomes like this, where we're just, okay, yeah, I still want it, but there's no belief of achieving. There's no self-belief. Believe in yourself. And as I started this stream, I said, I used to work in the financial sector as well. And I've got friends in the financial sector that are predicting another GFC. And it's like, well, why bother manifesting money? Don't manifest the money. Manifest the means to get the money. And yeah, Mama Nikos, don't be down on yourself. You are a byproduct of a divine universe. Your body and mind align to the laws of physics, just like the Newtonian cradle. It aligns to the laws of physics. Do you see how it hasn't really stopped moving? The balls have stopped bouncing, but it hasn't stopped moving. So it's still hearing our wish, but it's lost the belief. If we give it some more belief, there it goes again. And it's the laws of physics that we are. And if we keep loving ourselves, and in Australia we say warts and all, but it's loving yourself regardless of what you consider to be weaknesses, what you consider to be defects. Love those defects too. Because just like the Newtonian cradle, the defect is these strings aren't the strongest. But if I pay attention to the strings, it won't break. So paying attention to your weaknesses isn't necessarily a bad thing when trying to manifest. And yeah, sometimes you do need that inspiration, but get that inspiration from what I like to call active rest. I weed the garden. I pull out the weeds in my veggie garden. That's active rest. Passive rest is something that lets your body rest. Active rest is something that inspires you. And again, my wish for this to still work is there. Laws of physics are the same with manifestation. Keeping the gratitude, even for the not so great things. I'm grateful that I can be snappy at times. I'm grateful that I can be elitist. You might have figured that one out on your own, but I can be. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person because I like restaurants that are fancy. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person because if I have a drink of wine, I want a good wine. I don't want just a glass of wine. I want it to be good. And I've always had the backing of the universe to have that. When I say I'm elitist, I'm just talking in terms of Aussie snobbery, where having a good glass of wine is a bit different than the cask, or what we used to call 2 buck chuck. I prefer, if I'm going to drink, I'm going to drink something I enjoy. Otherwise, I'll just have water or coffee. But I need to pay this attention again. And just like the laws of physics, it did what it was supposed to do. Boxed wine. There you go, Lala Rees. That's exactly what I mean. Boxed wine. In Australia, there was parts of Australia during late 80s, early 90s that used to hang the bladder of the wine off the clothesline. And we have clotheslines that swing around. And it was like Wheel of Fortune. You'd swing the clothesline would go round and round and round and round. And the bladder or the inside part of the wine would stop above somebody. And they had to drink. And yes, Australia in their drinking games, there's hundreds of them. Won't get into too many of them. But if I want my wish to be bigger, I don't want boxed wine, even though some of them are quite nice. I just put that out there. And do you see your bigger wish? There's still momentum. but it requires more intention. So if your wish is bigger than what you can achieve yourself, you need to put much more effort into maintaining it, much more effort into loving it. So for me, I'm lucky, as I said, look for the silver lining. I am lucky. I'm so lucky that I can get in a car and drive to a winery. And some wineries still have free tastings. And if I like the taste of the wine I've tasted, I can then buy a bottle directly from the people that make it. Yeah, red wine, definitely, if you leave it. I store my wine properly, so this is where I said I'm a bit of an elitist. I'm a wine snob. I'm a restaurant snob. And for those of you not Australian, snob actually means picky. It means highly discerning. So discerning that you're living beyond your means. And no, I don't live beyond my means. But whenever I would like a nice glass of wine, the money is there. Ah, so BC, that's British Columbia, I'm guessing. And yes, I need to pay this more attention to get the two going. I'm gathering it's British Columbia. I would love to go because I hear they're white, and there's Pinot Grigio that's out at the moment, quite fashionable. Pinot Grigio. A lot of people don't understand what it is. It's a really pale white wine, and I hear British Columbia is perfect for it. So do you hear how excited I get talking about something I love? Get that excited about your manifestation. Oh, you're a snob on most generic foods. We're lucky in Australia. Our generic foods here aren't that bad. I do like my USA store though. And yes, I do get stuff from Canada there too. So we have a USA store probably about a 20-minute drive from where I am. And yeah, there you go. Great grapes in the South regions. I am dying to try a British Columbia Pinot Grigio, so I'll get there eventually. But I do get excited about wine. Good one. Oh, there you go. Well, unique name goes here. As I said, I'm really lucky in Australia. Our generics are probably just as good as the brands. We are really lucky here. Even ketchup or tomato sauce is not watery in the generic brand. Whereas I understand from people I know overseas, I do have relatives that live in the US. I have friends that live in Canada. Coffee. Yeah, I wouldn't buy generic coffee. But there comes my elitist again. Oh, it is watery in the US. Mama Nikos, thank you for that. I do have a relative that lives in Boston, and they've said that the ketchup is really watery if it's generic. And we don't use corn syrup here as much as the US does. Unique name goes here. Hey, Breenie, welcome in. I'm doing a manifestation stream. And yes, I've got to pay attention, because paying attention to my good and bad keeps my wish in the universe. Just talking physics. The wish is still in the universe. The action needs to be given to keep it going. And I'm going to go back to just the single one There we go. I like the single one better. But, yeah, in Australia, we don't tend to use corn syrup as much. I know Americans love corn syrup and they put sugar in bread, which is strange to us Australians. We do not put sugar in our loaf of bread. Yes, we do have bagels here, so we know what bread with sugar in it tastes like, but we tend to leave it to the German bakeries that put sugar in the bagel to keep the density right. But in Australia, we don't put sugar in our bread. Call us weird, but we use what we've got. It's been that way, I suppose, since Australia was founded. We are a country that tend to use our own resources, and those resources are whatever is. Oh, I missed the Melbeck comment. Sorry, Lala Rees. Yes, I had a Melbeck. I've gone off it a little bit because I got a bad bottle. I didn't go to a tasting for it. A friend said, why don't we try a good Melbeck? And quite a lot for the bottle, but the taste was not to my liking. Whereas I do like a Pinot Noir. A good Pinot. But anyway, back to manifesting. It's like keeping that momentum going. And it does take quite a bit of energy. Collective Capricorn. Oh, thank you. Yes, manifesting is something that I get asked about in my tarot stream. So I thought I'd create a stream just for manifesting because it's not as simple as what others... I've seen others presented in a way that it's simple. I'll just write down your wishes and keep reading them every day. And it's like, set up a vision board. And I'm a believer in vision boards. Trust me, I'm a believer in them. But there's a lot of work that goes on beforehand. It's self-trust, self-love, self-acceptance, self-gratitude. So it all starts with self. And then once we've got the self sorted out, we can then take those qualities out into the world and have gratitude. Whoops, it nearly stopped. There you go. I've got to keep paying attention. And Queen speaking. I would actually love to have like a discourse rather than me lecturing. And it would be so much easier. But this Newtonian cradle that I have is just to demonstrate that manifesting and paying attention and accepting. Dapico or Graham Dapico. I've got to get used to the new name. I'm doing a manifestation stream. And yes, I think that's getting annoying with the cradle in the background. But manifesting with pineal gland. Oh. Yes, I can understand why some people would think manifesting with the pineal gland is a good idea. But on the god Shiva, I'm not a follower, so I don't think I have the right to comment. I am going to move my Newtonian cradle, though, because it was getting a bit annoying. My wish is still swinging away, but paying attention to it. And Lady Lucia Lumine. Sorry if I got it wrong, Lady Lucia. Yes, manifesting self-love, definitely the first step. And I've had to love some things about myself that aren't very nice, but they're part of me. And if I'm not loving that part of me that's not very nice, I can't expect the universe to reward me. And that's what manifesting is. We're looking for what we wish for in life. And wishing that in to somebody who is not sitting in gratitude for everything is difficult. It is really difficult. And trust me, I've gone the push-pull. I've forgotten to pay attention to my manifestation. And I've suffered the consequences, but I've accepted that it was me. But yeah, manifesting with the pineal gland, that's a totally different topic, but it still uses current physics. Broadening the pineal gland is actually broadening all of your senses. And I find it a bit too hippie, a bit too 60s hippie. Spiritualists tend to manifest through good works. But having said that, like any other faith-based orthodoxy, there's good and bad. There's good and bad in all humanity. And acknowledging the good and bad in all humanity means that we're acknowledging the imperfections. And again, the imperfections are free will in reality. We can choose to invite those imperfections in, or we can choose to accept them and not build on them. It's free will. We can't displace free will. And that is even with the manifesting with the pineal gland. And you can research it. I'm sure there's plenty of people that talk about it on other platforms. But I'm speaking from a purely spiritualist perspective. And that's where it becomes difficult, because it's not an immediate one-step process. It is a process of self-love, of gratitude, of understanding and compassion. So understanding and compassion come into it a lot. When I say a lot, it just encompasses a lot. Understanding and compassion encompass being observant and not intruding on other people's free will, not enforcing our view on anyone else, which can be more difficult than what you think. And in some of my classes that I do run as a life coach, I tell people to try and go a day without using the word I. And for you guys, try and go a whole day without using the word I. And this is where ego comes into it. It is much, much harder than what you think. And there's the I. Yeah, it's much harder than what you think to go a day without using the word I. But I've used examples from my life during this stream to illustrate manifestation. But it would be much better from you guys to have examples where you have tried to manifest. And I love Lala Rees that you've joined in. I love Graham Dapico, you've joined in, and Peachy, you've joined in, and Unique Name Goes Here and Mama Nikos, you've both joined in. I love it. Because without you guys, my stream would be very boring. Even the card reading ones, the streams would be very boring. Yes, I do have a sense of humour, but it takes a lot of energy to keep that up. And manifesting, everybody wants different things, so never think that there's not enough of something. And as I said with money, if you're trying to manifest wealth, as in financial gain, look at how that may come about. I know that's going contra to some people's belief of manifestation, but to me, to attract, you need to act. So if you're looking to gain employment, for example, go and volunteer. Seriously, volunteer. You will be surprised. You will save money because you won't be paying your utilities as often. Oh, Strange Moon, Lilith, oh, isn't that... Oh, Brini, you're a doll. Oh, it's nice to see you here, Lady Lucia. And yes, volunteer, you'll save money. And if you're looking for a job or looking for a way to earn income, volunteering will give you an immediate reference. And a good reference that's current will lead to a better position than someone that just sits at home gaming. And I know I'm streaming, and I know you're listening to me, so I don't want to put you off too much. I know most of you pop in to get cards done. The cards, yes, this Tuesday stream will still go ahead. Tune in Tuesday will still go ahead. But the manifestation thing is something that has been requested during streams. And because I've had a queue of 20, I haven't been able to pay attention to it like it deserves. And remember, I said paying attention to what you're manifesting requires constant attention. Whether it be speaking, whether it be doing. I always like the doing part of manifesting because, yeah, as I said before, to attract, you need to act. So if you're trying to attract wealth and you're not being generous, how likely is it that that wealth is going to come easy? So start thinking of it in terms of what action can I take to bring about my manifestation? Some people are successful in dreaming it, but the people I know that have been successful, myself included, there's always been action related to bringing it in. And Collective Capricorn, thank you for that. But yeah, volunteering, if you're wanting to attract money, volunteering is one of the best ways to attract. You're giving to the community, so you're being generous. At the same time, you're also saving on your utilities. You're building up a connection that will last a lifetime. Believe it or not, it does. I volunteered, still do sometimes. And that volunteering does build up a connection. It builds up a network of people with the same desire for life, the desire to make the world a better place. And yet you would be surprised how much you save on your own personal utilities when you volunteer. And it does give you a current reference for employment. Sorry about that. It does give you a current reference for employment. And that current reference for employment gets you something better than what you would have got without it. And yet your time has not been wasted. It's been used in a way that enhances the globe. It enhances your community. And enhancing your community, your immediate environment benefits. So if your immediate environment benefits, your self-love also benefits, and the effects go on and on and on and on. There are crystals that I can recommend for manifestation, Gram Dapico, but if there's no self-love, the crystals won't work. One of the crystals that I would recommend for manifestation of wealth or materialistic things would be citrine. Nobody has guessed my mystery find. I should turn a light on, actually. Nobody has guessed my mystery find while I was out gold detecting. Like, for me to get gold, I had to go out. Pyrite. Yes, I've got pyrite here. I took pyrite when I went gold detecting. We're fortunate in Australia that we have natural pyrite. And this is Aussie natural pyrite. So this one just here is natural pyrite. And it's usually found where a crystal cleanse, I don't think so, Collective Capricorn. I'm not big on crystals, but I wouldn't necessarily say pyrite for manifesting wealth. And there's a reason for that, because pyrite also contains lead. Little minute particles, but it still does contain lead. So if you're wanting to manifest money, lead takes it away, whereas citrine is crystalline. But yes, that does need a clean. Collective Capricorn, you are right. It was found in the Australian bush. It needs a clean, but it was found while I was gold detecting. I thought I'd leave it in its natural state just to see if anybody could guess what it was. Lady Lucia, the amber stone from your ring popped out. Now amber is ancestry to me, and I would say there's an anniversary coming up of someone who passed away. So just sit with that, see if it resonates. But I'm doing manifestation today, not readings. My guides know that. Oh, thank you. Yes, I do have, I've got red nails at the moment. Red nails. They do need a touch up, but thank you, Collective Capricorn. And yes, that comes to my next point. Giving respect to what you want to manifest. There you go, Lady Lucia. It's been sitting there. I came back from gold detecting 3 weeks ago now, and it's been sitting there for 3 weeks. Nobody's guessed yet. So it'll sit there until somebody guesses. You did press on like those today. So you do the press-ons. Mine are real. My nails are real. I hate the acrylics. If you finish, that's fine. You can.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to ask. Sorry,
I've got a visitor in my meditation room today, so we're just having a little discussion. Thank you, Collective Capricorn. And Tob LLC or Tob LLC. Welcome in for the first time. Sorry, what was the question, Josh?
I just wanted to ask about like crystals, because I'm not really well versed in spiritualists, but how do crystals like correlate to manifesting and things like that?
The theory on crystals, Josh, my guest in my meditation room said to me, how do crystals and manifestation work together? And it's a good question because I didn't clarify it. I just said citrine. The theory on the crystals, and this is my lapis lazuli, and it's filled with pyrite. So it's natural. We're lucky in Australia. I collect natural. The only one I have that's not natural is this pale jade, which my mum gave me. Can you see the mystery one again? Okay, this is one I found while gold detecting. It was one found on my gold detecting trip, and it's a bit of a trick, but crystals vibrate. Crystals vibrate. Yep, stones can too. Granite is a perfect example of a stone that can be equated with crystals. If you need to ground yourself, if you feel like your ideas are running away from you, granite is the perfect stone to have. Yeah. No, neither of those, Lady Lucia. Garnet is actually a crystal. Believe it or not, even though garnet's solid, it's actually a crystal. But they all vibrate at a different frequency. So that's why there are some crystals that you would have around you when manifesting certain things. I have my trusty, I've forgotten it now. There you go. It's my eagle head, my lovely eagle head. Forgotten it now. I have my pyrite, but that grounds me. Pyrite grounds me. Yes, I love them rare. And no, it's not, Lady Lucia. Look, I will let you in on a secret. It's a trick. It's a trick of the eye. And seriously, where we were with our gold detecting, my person actually thought they'd found emerald. So it's a trick. They dug it up, convinced they found emerald. No, yeah, a hybrid would be closer to reality. I don't think coal is considered a psychic crystal, Tob LLC. But to us, coal is a source of energy. So if you're lacking energy, keeping coal around, I can understand that would be perfect. But also, coal is so much more than a source of energy. Coal can be, granite's interesting though as well, yeah. But coal can be a source of cleanliness for cleaning. How many people have actually bought charcoal face masks? How many people have actually bought charcoal toothpaste? And my grandfather swore by it. He used to put his toothbrush up the chimney, and brush his teeth with the coal, with the charcoal, which is charred coal. So yes, coal is underrated as far as I'm concerned. If I was after energy, I would have coal around me because it is a great source of energy. Ice would not be considered. Oh, it depends what crystal you're talking about, Tob. But I wouldn't consider ice a psychic crystal. Definitely not. And definitely not for definitely not for manifesting, because it would melt away. It would melt away. And if you're talking about the other one, it would be consumed by someone and transform into something else anyway. So, yeah, leaving that one alone. But, yeah, crystals and rocks, we're blessed in Australia that we do have so much. But my mystery object is actually a trick. It's a trick of the eye. My person fell for it, and I did for a second. I have to admit, I did for a second. And yes, because the belief is that crystals vibrate at a different rate to standard ether, the belief is obsidian. That's what I was... Nah. There you go. And all of my crystals are natural. They're not polished. Except for one. And the only reason that one's included is my mum gave it to me. So, yeah, I prefer the raw to the polished. And... So, niobium, that is a rare earth metal from what I understand. And no, I don't believe it is part of these psychic crystals. Yeah, there you go. Todd, it's useful. It's part of the earth. And I'm going back to physics again, what I was talking about before. We are part of the divine creator, so we're beautiful in that sense. Just like rare earth materials. Even though they're rare, only because of mining, etc., but they're useful. They're in all of our phones. They're in all of our... Oh, Tob, are you joking with me or something? Because seriously, sulfur I would not have in my vicinity. I would not. But having said that, sulfur used to be used as the very first antiseptic. It was, if someone had an infection, they had sulfur. They didn't have antibiotics that we've got now. So everything in earth has a use. And I want to say, I'm only going by white man's interpretation of an antibiotic, because only white men were stupid enough to use sulfur. Native peoples knew what plants to use to replace antibiotics. And there's quite a few out there. Not going to go into that. Do your own research for that. This is manifesting. So to answer Graham Dapico's question, if I wanted to ground myself, I'd definitely have granite, because it's a very solid, very firm, very hard, stable stone. It's just something that resonates with what you're trying to manifest. Alchemy for manifesting. Oh, I don't know about that. Ancient alchemists used sulfur. Yeah, they thought they could turn it into gold. So there you go, Todd. They thought they could turn it into gold. And sulfur was one of the first components. But, there you go. Didn't know that. Didn't know that about the Appalachian Mountains. $70 times more radioactive. Okay. I'm going to wish I didn't know that, but there you go. Collective Capricorn, Southern women where you are, do a lot of using natural herbs. And, you learned that in the College of Geology. In Australia, there's I belong to a university that had a great geology lab. If you ever want to check it out, it's in the Menzies building, I believe the 6th floor.
Ooh, okay.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, I belong to a university that had one of the best geology departments, and it's still there because it's too heavy for them to move. And that's going back to me being grateful for what I have learnt in the past. Because it might be tiny snippets of information that I've retained till now, but those tiny snippets are enough to get me to go forward. You're barely accepting that history. But yes, geology is fascinating. If you are into it, please do your own research. As I said, this is all about you and what you desire out of life. Everyone's different. Yes, I enjoyed going to the geology department, but did I study geology? No, it's not one of my degrees. I enjoy the crystals that I do have. And I understand people who are interested will believe that they vibrate on a different level than the normal ether. But water vibrates on a different level to the normal ether. So you've heard if you break a large piece of rock quartz in half, enough electrons are released. Yes. Look, I've got a dolly pot. I go gold detecting, Tob, so I've got a dolly pot to crush quartz. And it is tough. It's tough stuff. But granite's even tougher. So, yes. But we're not talking geology here. We're talking manifestation. So we were sidetracked a bit by crystals. But if you're wanting to... Oh, welcome in, Light Seeker. I don't have the equipment to see if electrons come off. Isn't that the Hadron Collider that can see that, Tob? But back to topic. So manifesting. Yes, crystals are said to vibrate at a different level, but as I said to you, water vibrates at a different level. And we want to change our vibration to one that accepts incoming joy, which means putting ourselves in a position of joy. Now, think about a time in your life where you were just filled with joy. It can be any time in your life, but think about a time that you were filled with joy. And how uplifting that is. And the reason we connect the heart to emotion is that the heart is the thing that feels the joy. Yes, it's a manifestation stream. And please come up with your own. I'm going to need to take a break. Don't worry, it's a bathroom break. I have to take it. You guys can't do it for me, so I will be back as soon as I can. have to apologise heaps for the delay. As I said, I did have a guest in my meditation room who is actually a Patreon. So just realise you can become a Patreon. It does give you additional time and access to ask me questions. So it also gives you, if you are in Australia, it gives you the opportunity to sit in on streams. You can choose to be on camera or off camera. Yes, so that's where I was. And sorry for the delay, but I am a polite person, so I had to say a polite goodbye. And I love that you guys are getting into it, because definitely, Tob, different artworks give me joy too. I love Monet. I love modern art too. And there's a few modern artists that I do have pieces of their work. And it gives me joy just to sit there and look at them. And listening to music, definitely Collective Capricorn is, to me, a music lover, is a must. Anything that gives me tingles or reminds me of happier times. It can music is, and art, any works of art, can transport you from a negative mood to a positive mood almost immediately. So if you find yourself in that negative headspace, listening to a piece of music, looking at a piece of art that inspires you, can bring you back to that positive headspace straight away. So when it comes to manifesting and self-love, those are two very important things. And when I say artworks, it could be poetry. As I said at the start of this stream, it is totally different for every individual. It could be a combination of music and art. It could be getting outside with a piece of canvas and actually splashing paint on it, because it gives you a childlike feeling that has innocence to it. And that brings about joy. One thing that used to bring about joy to me was throwing a ball to a German Shepherd. Another thing that used to bring me a lot of joy, and I am looking to get myself another one, I used to own a punching bag. And whenever I felt that the world was crashing in on me or invading my space, I would go out and I would hit that punching bag until I didn't feel that way anymore. And the process keeps going. As I said with physics, and this is why I've put back the Newtonian cradle, with physics, it is all the same. There you go, Collective Capricorn. You are so right with music, though. It is my go-to to change my mood. And whatever your go-to is to change your mood will enhance what you're trying to manifest. But it depends on what you're trying to manifest. I like manifesting happiness. Everything. Try one thing at a time, because I feel like my intuition is kicking in. But okay, Lola Ease, you're trying to manifest health. We were talking about crystals vibrating before, but music is also important to manifesting health, and it's been backed up by scientific research. Music and health. It's been backed up by scientific research. And one of the simplest things, you don't have to purchase anything. Get 2 spoons and bang them. Make your own music. And the vibration of the music will actually bring health. We are so fortunate now in life that I must confess I have actually watched a stage show on the Tube. And it was the Buddy Holly story. And I was grooving along to it. And Buddy Holly was before my time, so... But at the same time, watching the show and immersing myself in it made me want to feel that way again. Particularly with lockdowns and people not going out as often, people relying on technology rather than in real life, it brought about a disconnect with the in real life stuff. So watching that live theatre performance, thank you to whoever posted it, I can't remember now, but it was amazing because it was cancelled. I had tickets and it was actually cancelled just before Australia was hit with COVID. And we went into a pretty severe lockdown and I got my tickets refunded, but at the same time it was like I really wanted to see that. And all of a sudden it showed up on my recommendation feed and I thought, okay, I'll watch it. And it was exhilarating to watch and I'm grooving along to it. And manifesting health, it's a huge thing. People who are unwell or have been unwell, and myself included, I've over-manifested today, and you can over-manifest. You can overdose on manifestation. I did my manifestation every night as I do. I do my evening manifestation and I do my evening prayers. So I didn't get to bed until like 2 a.m. But at the same time, I was manifesting, I was seeing my body skipping. Now, for those of you who have been in my stream for a long time and do know, I did break my spine. So I do spend some time in a wheelchair. Quite a bit of time. But I was actually envisaging myself skipping and running last night and this morning. Oh, ads. Thank you for that, Collective Capricorn. Just reminds me that you guys do get ads. But manifesting health is visualizing, because to focus on the problem, and I want to say you need to focus on the problem. You need doctors to check it out. You need to take the medications that are shown to help. But as I said, even music and health, the connection to the two is shown by science to work. Anything that makes you feel positive, anything that makes you feel alive and engaged will actually benefit your health. And that's backed by science. You can Google, it was a university in Canada, I believe in Alberta, if I'm not mistaken, that did a really extensive longitudinal research paper on it. So you can Google the connection between music and health. It has been shown to be an important part of a healthy body. If you thank the universe for having a healthy body, because I look at disease or dis-ease as the body not being in complete ease or alignment. And we may never get back there. Whatever caused the health issue, we're not focused on. We can't change the past. So returning to the past is the worst form of dealing with a health issue. You do need to see a doctor, definitely. But music is an important part. Singing or humming is good. because particularly a happy tune, I love, it's a 70s one, Let the Sun Shine In. Open up your heart and let the sun shine in. And to me, that really vibrates well with me. Another one is You Are My Sunshine. Both include the word sunshine. We all know how important sun is for us as humans. We require the vitamin D to have strong bones. So inviting that into your routine, Lala Ease, would be perfect. But still, make sure you follow the advice of a treating health professional. They get to see you. They get to see the x-rays. They get to see what's going on. And one of the things with manifestation is that you can have an attitude of proving them wrong. Yes, we need to go to a health practitioner for whatever purpose. But you can also have an attitude of proving them wrong, proving them that something else works. There you go. And there's actually a scientist, he's a Japanese, quantum physicist. He's a Japanese quantum physicist who's written books on being able to talk nicely to water. Oh, you saw a neurologist yesterday too. Well, manifesting can be proving someone wrong. What better power is there than to say, okay, you've given me this diagnosis, I'm going to prove you wrong. And again, I can use myself as an example here. I actually was wheelchair bound, and I was told that was it. There was surgery I could have, but I would have to pay for it, because one of the negative impacts was that I would be permanently in the wheelchair. I already was, so the negative impact didn't sway me. I had the surgery, and I set myself the target of proving the doctors wrong by walking. And I now walk 50 metres a day. It may not seem much in the grand scheme of things, or steps, or whatever you want to call it, but that's a lot. And I make sure I walk those 50 metres a day. And it's good that you're manifesting healing into the ginger shot you take. But the Japanese scientist, I wish I could remember his name, because he wrote a whole book on it, how you can change water. You can change the way water looks under a microscope just by speaking positively to the water. And we are, as humans, we are 95% or 80 to 95%, depending on which scientist you believe, made up of water. And if we can speak positively to ourselves, we can change at a microscopic level how we are. Yes, we still need to see the professionals, but at the same time, we can self-hypnosis to me is meditation. Meditation, pure and simple, self-hypnosis is meditation. But speaking positively to ourselves, we can do that while we're driving. We don't have to actually go into a meditative state to speak positively to ourselves. We can start speaking positively to ourselves at any point during the day, because we don't have to say it out loud. We don't have to meditate to do it. We just have to change that self-talk that goes on in our head to be like, you are beautiful. You are part of the divine. You are created from the divine. Everything you do has purpose, has meaning, has the potential to grow. Okay. The theta waves, some scientific evidence behind it, but not a lot. So, Graham Dabico, thank you for bringing it up. I know there are an immense number of theta wave and beta wave and delta wave streams that you can tune into. They do no harm, so I don't see any problem with them. But do they help in manifesting? I don't think so, because was 10% surviving. Yeah, there you go, Lala Ease, you've done it. It's like, yeah, having that attitude of proving someone wrong is because it's determination, because it is with you constantly to prove someone wrong. You can do it. But also I'm lucky I've got a GP who is super accepting of alternative therapies. So don't worry, I knew where to go. I have to confess that. That's why I'm grateful for having worked in hospitals, is that I knew which doctor would suit me best, and that's who I went to. But Lala Rees, you're a perfect example of what manifestation can achieve. And it can achieve great things. And it's different for everyone. Like for me, walking 50 metres a day. I've tried to extend it. I've tried to manifest extending it. I'm still manifesting extending it. However, just doing that proved the doctors wrong. I extended it and, yeah, I did extend it and I've gone backwards a little bit, but we won't go there. Trial and error, backwards and forwards. As long as there's perpetual motion in moving forward, we're still moving forward. We're not staying stagnant. We're not living a life that says, I've given up. We're living a life that says, I'm not giving up. And you've proven to yourself, Lala Rees, that you can do it. And I believe that you've had feedback from doctors that have said, I can't believe that you're at this point. Because I get that there's been some negativity. Anyway, but negativity, yeah, sometimes a few steps back, but understand you're human. You need rest. And continual perpetual motion is exhausting. Like if I didn't need sleep, I could keep this going. I could keep my Newtonian cradle going forever. But unfortunately, I need sleep. So sometimes just the fact that our bodies need sleep puts us a few steps back. And that's where I think the theta waves come in, Graham Dapico. I think that's where the theta waves can come in. But there's also delta waves. Yes, do your own research on that one. I'm still on the fence about whether it's effective or not. And there's so many of them out there, I'm thinking that there has to be a large percentage that aren't educated on it. They're just putting out sound. So, yeah, there has to be a percentage that aren't educated. Not educated enough to do... I don't want to say do it right, but do a proper job. And, yeah, doing research is also a way to engage in your manifestation. Do the research. Because if you're looking for a way to make it happen, you're manifesting while you're researching. So to attract is to act, and the process of researching is action. So whatever actions you can bring in will only amplify your ability to manifest and the process of manifesting what you want. Researching on the positive is a way forward. So, but recognize that we are human, Lalaries. We do need our downtime. Even the most healthy person in the world needs downtime. And look, we've all seen pictures of Einstein. Einstein only slept 4 hours a night. That dude needed a bit more downtime to do his hair. Seriously. Yeah, there you go. Everything in the universe, but everything in the universe to me is interconnected. Yeah, see, Lalaries, do you know what I mean? Laughter is another thing that's great for manifesting. If you can laugh, you're bringing your body into that positive approach. If you can make yourself find things funny, like Einstein's hair, brilliant man. I am not underrating Einstein in any way, shape, or form. But that dude should have used some of his downtime to fix his hair. And there was also another scientist, I believe Einstein was the same, but there was another scientist who they had the exact same outfits in their wardrobe. They never had a different coloured shirt, for example. Everything was the same. They had like 5 suits of the same make, cut, etc. They had 5 ties exactly the same. They had 5 shirts exactly the same. And it was so they didn't have to waste time in choosing what to wear. It was there. But the other scientist I was thinking of would get so caught up in their field of research, and they were pretty well off, financially anyway. They would forget to take enough money to buy their train ticket to get to work. So they'd have to borrow from others to be able to purchase the train ticket to get to work. And it's not like they couldn't afford to. No, it wasn't Steve Jobs. It's earlier than that. I'm going back. Charlie, welcome in. We're talking manifestation today. We're not doing readings. But Steve Jobs, no, I believe Steve Jobs was a different soul. I'm doing okay. I hope you're doing well, Charlie. We are talking manifestation today, so we're talking about how we manifest and how we can bring prosperity into our lives. And whatever prosperity is to you is going to be totally different to prosperity for someone else. Prosperity for me, like Lalaries, one of the first things is that I wake up every morning better. And that's all we can hope for, is to be a better version of ourselves than yesterday. So we're competing against no one other than ourselves, our yesterday. And I find today's society, because of the instantaneous communication, we find ourselves competing against others for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And it's the selfie generation. We're competing against people. And no, you are unique. You are created unique and perfect by the divine. So this competition of comparing ourselves to other people is society. It is built by somebody who is insecure. And that insecurity has led to more and more focus on what we see rather than who we are. I would rather spend time with someone who has a wonderful oh, that's okay, Charlie, you're more than welcome. But I'd rather spend time with somebody who is giving to society, who is wanting society to be a better place, than spend time with someone who has money or who has a good figure. Trust me, I'm 55 and the figure I had years ago is not the figure I've got now. It's one thing that's guaranteed to change. Unless you get plastic surgery or get some sort of tweaking alteration, which I feel that's disrespecting the universe. The universe gave us this body, gave us this life. And what's the saying, grow old gracefully? I hope I've tried to do so. And yes, I've been grateful for the body I've been given. Prior to the accident, I was 6 foot tall, exactly 6 foot. I was quite lean and muscular. I was active. I had long jet black hair. I never had to do my eyebrows. Even now, I'm grateful. Sorry, guys. I'm grateful that these nails are my real nails. Seriously, they're my real ones. I can show you underneath, but it's pretty gross. I've been cleaning this morning. They're my real nails. And I'm grateful that I was given that. And I know there are people out there that would wish for their natural nails to be that way. But accepting that they're not. Like I did break one when I went gold detecting, but they do break from time to time. And I'm fine with that. I don't crumble and say, oh, my nail's broken. I accept that it's going to happen from time to time. Generally, I have to cut them. But sometimes they do break. But I love that about myself. And the fact I've never, ever had to do my eyebrows, not even now, has freaked some people out. It really has. There's a 20-something person that I meet up with at poker, and they are freaked out that I have never, ever done my eyebrows. It's because I've been grateful for what I've been given. Have I always treated it well? No. I haven't always treated it well. But we've got our flaws too. Accepting those flaws is part of manifesting. And I know that I've stayed on the very basics for about 2 hours, it's 2 hours 28 minus the times I had to tend to other things. But it's not just a simple fix it. These are the steps. It's a process. And because I can't speak to your individual goals, it makes that process a little bit longer. So this might be over a couple of streams rather than just in one. And that process of manifesting starts with self-love, which is what today's stream has been about. It's also been about how we are natural. Our bodies, our lives conform to the rules of physics. And it's beautiful that they do. Yes, the divine has given us intuition. Scientists would call it the mammalian brain. I know one of my professors called it the mammalian brain, the part of our body that tells temperature. Mine's broken, but that's for a different reason. It's not totally broken that I will constantly battle it. However, we're given the ability to automatically alter our body temperature by 10 degrees. And that's 10 degrees Celsius, by the way. So if you Fahrenheit, convert it. And that is something that happens automatically. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to ask. It just happens automatically. And it's great that it does. La Reese, I keep forgetting that Australians use different terminology than the rest of the world. Reptilian brain is another name, but mammalian brain is that part of our brain that has those auto sensors that current day science hasn't been able to classify. And one of those things is our ability to alter our body temperature by 10 degrees Celsius, up or down. And it is something that I've lost, and neurological conditions quite often lose that as their first sensory loss, which is a shame. But it just goes to show that it is known about enough to know that a spinal cord injury can change it. And that is in and of itself a blessing, that these things that were natural and just happened because we are part of a divine universe are now starting to be recognized by science. And I get excited about that because I have a science background. You guys probably already know that, but I have a science background, and I get really excited when a scientific discovery confirms something that intuitively or spiritually I've had confirmation of or have known for a long time. And again, we're getting into gratitude and self-love. Love of what we've learnt in the past. And Lala Rees, you seem to be very educated on things. Thank you, Rodav. This is a manifestation stream anyway, but thank you for the lurk. Mwah. Oh, bless you. It's manifesting in its essence is self-love. With that self-love, we don't need to worry about what we should say or shouldn't say, what we should write down, what we shouldn't write down, what our vision board should look like or what it shouldn't look like. And yeah, everyone can give you examples of it. However,